All right, so fundamentals of geometry class. This is what's called the SLM or student learning map. Let me tap on my pen tool. So this is for chapter 1. It's called the student learning map. It's a map of what we plan on learning. And this was designed for when we're in the classroom and everything. But so there might be some things that are mentioned on this student learning map that we might not do if we're virtual and we're not all back in school. So keep that in mind. But I will let you know that if you take a look at the very top, there's going to be an essential question. And in chapter 1, the question, actually there's 2 of them, what is geometry? And what are some basic figures, terms, and patterns that we need to recognize? And right with the essential question goes the key learning. Right below it, just follow the arrow. And it starts out by saying geometry helps us understand the position, size, and shape of everything. When we understand geometric patterns, we can find reasonable answers to many real-world questions. Now, the way it's set up is each lesson has a column. So you notice on the far left, you have lesson 1-1. Then it goes lesson 1-2 as we move to the right. Then lesson 1-3 is right here, and lesson 1-6 is to the right. Notice we're following a textbook. You're not going to be getting a textbook. So I do have them in the classroom if we ever get in here, and you can use that as a guide. So there might be some lessons missing, but we're going to go with the textbook lesson numbers. All right, so we move on. Let's go to my highlighter again. Let's use green. Lesson 1. Essential question. Why is it important to identify patterns and use inductive reasoning? And it says when we see patterns, we can make reasonable conclusions. This is called inductive reasoning. And then there's a vocab list at the end of each of the lessons. Conjecture, counterexample, inductive reasoning are the vocab words for the first lesson. Now the next lesson, lesson 1-2, it states, why is it important to be able to identify the location of points, lines, and planes? And the answer to that is using their location. We're talking about points, lines, and planes. We can draw accurate models and determine characteristics of those shapes that we're going to be looking at. The vocab for this lesson is coplanar, non-coplanar, collinear, non-collinear, line, segment, point, and ray. Then we go to lesson 3, why are postulates important to the study of geometry? So we'll learn about postulates, which state facts that are accepted as true. They are used as a foundation to understanding how points, lines, and planes are related to each other. So we'll look at some postulates. And then the fourth lesson, or we're going to call it lesson 1-6, how are perimeter and area related? Which characteristics make them unique? So perimeter and area are measurements of a shape. Perimeter is the distance around, but area tells how many square units cover it. And our vocabulary list is down below. So that's our student learning map for chapter 1.